As Nadine said right at the beginning, it's so wonderful to see you all here today as we come together to say thank you. Are you happy there? Can you hear enough? Okay. So I'm just checking. I know that the sound is not brilliant in the chancel. But we're here to acknowledge all the wonderful work done by volunteers. And I wonder if you realise that everyone contributing to this service is a volunteer, bar two of us. You've walked into an open, clean church this morning, having passed through a beautifully maintained churchyard. The bells were ringing as you arrived. You were welcomed with a smile, I know. There was music playing, and the altar was laid ready for our service to begin. Those at home are able to join in, thanks to the live streamers. Our singing is being led by the music group. We've had a reading from the band of readers, and prayers will follow soon. After the service, tea and coffee will be served. All that we've used for Holy Communion tidied away. Money that's been collected will be ready to be banked. And the church tidied, ready for sparklers tomorrow. Had it not been Lent, there would be beautiful flowers in our church too. Every one of these activities is done by a volunteer. As we've also got a beautifully maintained church, maintained by volunteers who make sure the heating works, the lighting is efficient, and are on hand when a hole appears in the car park. We're so lucky to have a church that's open 7 days a week, again, opened and locked by volunteers. Decisions about the life of our church are made by volunteers who sit on the parochial church council. We've got a parish safeguarding officer, a treasurer, a PCC secretary, a church warden, although we should have two. Our church is supported by our amazing shop, Just, on the high street, selling items sourced from ethical and sustainable places, and sold to customers by the band of volunteers who keep the shop open. The communion part of our service is going to be led by Matthew, another volunteer. In fact, the only people who are paid for what they do for our church are Julie, Nadine, and myself. And I wonder, has that list surprised you? Because so much of it is hidden. We often just arrive and don't realise what's gone on in the days or even the minutes beforehand. As I said, this is our opportunity to thank you all who do volunteer for St Mary's. Many who are members of the church, but also others of you who are part of the local community and volunteer here to help us. I wrote over 130 invitations for today's service, and I am so deeply grateful to each and every one of you, and thank God for you, for some of you, the part you play is small. For others, your name appears on multiple lists. But we're all part of the body of Christ, and equally important and vital to work together for all that God has placed on our hearts. It's widely acknowledged that so much of society depends on volunteers. If we look around our village of Wendover, there are many different places where there are significant groups of volunteers. Many of you are every Monday morning at the Wendover Dementia Cafe. There are those of you who are friends of Wendover Health Centre. Some drive the community bus. There are those who volunteers at Lindergate, as well as those who volunteer at the Chiltern Neuro Centre, formerly known as the MS Centre. We have volunteers in our library, those who serve as parish councillors, those who volunteer as part of CLAW, those who volunteer in our schools and at the youth centre. Why do we do this? Some would say that they give back, want to give something back. Perhaps having retired, they've got more time to give something to society. It was wonderful on Monday when I popped into the Wendover Dementia Cafe and saw that some of the volunteers were people who'd been supported in the past when their loved one had dementia and were now giving back to others. I know that those who volunteer at Lindengate can enjoy the outdoors as well as supporting those who have mental health issues and are being supported by that charity. As Christian people, why do we volunteer? As a vicar running a busy parish, I honestly couldn't do without each and every one of you. Our ability to welcome and make people feel at home and accepted, to have a churchyard that looks so good, and again is welcoming to those who visit very regularly, is dependent on each of you. So thank you. I hope that you'll find that you're volunteering because you want to make a difference in your church community. But as we think about the readings that we've had from James and from the Gospel of John, we're reminded that if we have faith and believe in the love of God, loving our neighbours as ourselves, then volunteering or doing good works, for that is such an awful expression, is what we're called to do. James writes, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have a faith but doesn't have works? Surely that faith cannot save it." And then he goes on to give the example of someone who may meet a person who's naked and looking for food, and yet the response is, "Go in peace, keep warm, and eat your fill," but don't supply their bodily needs. What good is that? It's no good as seeing people in need, whether it be in our own neighbourhoods, other parts of our country, or indeed throughout the world, if we don't do something to help to supply the needs that they have. It's no good simply believing in God, but doing nothing to enable others to see that they too can receive Christ's love in the way that we behave. Faith must be acted out in what we do for others around us. And then we had the example of Jesus himself in that story in John's Gospel. The story is one that's very familiar to us as part of our preparation for Easter, when we hear Jesus gathering with his friends at the supper table, washing their feet and knowing that one will betray him. This is the Last Supper, the last time that Jesus would sit and eat with his friends. And it is here he who is the servant, not the master. As so often happens, Peter just isn't getting it when Jesus is speaking to him. Here it is because Jesus wants to wash Peter's feet. But Peter says, "You're not going to wash my feet." We then heard Jesus explaining, "If I don't wash your feet, you can't be part of what I'm doing." And Peter goes to the other extreme and says, "Wash me all over," which of course is not what Jesus was wanting to do. Normally in Jewish homes, the servant would wash the feet of those who came in from outside because the ground would be sandy and rubbly. But we have Jesus washing the feet of those who have gathered. And it's in this that we have the reminder that Jesus is the servant who came to be with us, to live his life as we live ours, and to be the reminder to us that we are all called to serve. So today, as we give thanks for those who volunteer now, we also give thanks for those who volunteered over many, many years to enable St. Mary's to be at the heart of our community, to be here to serve the community in times of great joy and great sorrow, to be a place of refuge for those who feel rejected, to be a place of welcome and warmth for so many different groups. The time you give so generously is serving Jesus Christ, the one who loves you, and all who come here are part of this community. Thank you. First of all, I publish the banns of marriage between John Richard Hawksley and Catherine Simpson Banks, both of this parish. This is for the third time of asking. If you know of any reason in law why they may not marry each other, you are to declare it now. And we continue to pray for John and for Katie at this difficult time for them, and for when they're able to make their marriage vows to each other. Amen. As said, we have over 130 volunteers. I'm very aware that some of you are not now doing anything because you have in the past, and it's long been time to stop. And also aware that some of you are not able to at the moment because of what's happening in your lives. But if during this service you've heard of something that you could do and don't already, then please do speak to one of us if you could help in any way. As I said, it's Lent, and we continue through our journey of Come and See on Wednesday evening and on Thursday morning. So Wednesday at 7:30 and Thursday at 10 o'clock. And this coming week, the title is Two Treasures, and it's a further explanation of following the commandments in our lives today. And if you signed up for one of the Diocese of Oxford daily reflections, you'll have received the film this morning with that title, so do watch that. Next Sunday, being the first Sunday of March, there's services at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock and 10:45. On our update, there was a notice about Easter lilies. Some of you like to be able to donate for a lily in memory of someone. If you'd like to do that, to give £5, you can do that through Julie at the office, rather than trying to give her £5 today. But you can drop it off there. On the 9th of March, there's a barn dance at Weston Turville. It's the group that David Blackmore's wife Rachel runs, that's called Water for Tanzania. And they're having a barn dance on that Saturday evening. Again, there's more details on the update. We regularly collect for Food Bank, and I thought during Lent, I'd love to, if everybody was able to bring one thing each time they come to church, then our box would be overflowing. In the past few years, we've done a special drive during this time with the youth centre. We're not able to do that now. So if we can be collecting stuff here, or you can always put stuff in the bin at Budgeons, then that will help those who are in such desperate need of the help that gives. Just want to tell you a little bit about The Hole, which emerged on Thursday afternoon. We've discovered that it's actually a burial chamber. Anybody who's been in Wendover for many years, I think there's probably few that are living in that living memory. This was grass out here. The door here was the main door to come through. And so there are burials out there. At the moment, we're not sure what we need to be doing. We've talked to Ecclesiastical, who are insurers, and we'll wait to see what happens. That's why we're leaving the car park closed for now, just in case any more emerge. It's no doubt been the rain that's caused it. But yes, that gave her a lively Thursday afternoon. So I'll hand back to Matthew.
Hi. For those of you that have dogs, I'm running a workshop here on Saturday the 16th of March from 3 p.m. to 4:30. We're going to ask for a couple of pounds donation from each person, and all money will be going to the church. So if you've got a dog that barks, jumps up at neighbours, reacts to other dogs, anything really that you just sort of think, how can I help him with this? Then come along and we'll work through it with us all together. I've also got, there's a sign-up sheet here as well. So if you want to sign up to register your place, I've got that here for us as well.